Hello everyone, this is Crota coming at you, giving you a game between FantaFiction versus Angeline. This is going to be a showcase match here on Echo Isle. Angeline spawning as the purple Night Elf player on the top left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, here on the top right, we have FantaFiction spawning as the red Undead. Now, I know some of you guys are wondering, hey, what happened to the rest of the King of the Hill matchups between, I think it was Night Elf and Orc? I'm actually not going to be casting those any longer. There was some recording issues with the games, and I actually lost a couple of hours recording and coding and trying to save them. Not gonna recast those games. I didn't feel that they were particularly so outstanding that I wanted to watch them twice and cast them twice. So for those of you guys who are wondering, hey, where are those games? I'm sorry, you guys can definitely download them and watch them yourself, but I will not be focusing on them at all. Now, with all of that bad news out of the way, I wanted to say, well, happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. I did post something on my Crota Facebook page, just reminiscing about my dad. I'm sure many of you guys don't know he passed away when I was 20, so a little bit of a sad note there. And as a father now, I'm starting to finally realize a lot of the sacrifices that he made for me. And I can't continue talking about this, otherwise I'm going to get too teary-eyed before the action starts. So if you have a father that loves you and appreciates you, make sure you let them know how much you appreciate them as well. All right, let's go ahead and take a look into the game here. FantaFiction opening up with what appears to be a Death Knight. Warden on the other side of the map, as we are going into some Ancient of War creeping. Very, very common there. I think there was a ghoul. Yes, the ghoul does like to kill sheep here on Echo Isle. And now pulling back up, the sheep will most likely turn into a couple of minions in just a second, as the Warden now makes her way over. Now, whenever I see a Warden first, I always think of solo Warden, as it is such a strong opening. A solo Warden is extremely effective at taking down units, especially early ghouls. One of the main problems for the Night Elf player, especially against an Undead, are the fact that ghouls absolutely rip through archers. Now, the Warden is actually a very, very strong counter to that, as the Warden can Shadow Strike, slow down those ghouls, and then eventually pick them off. You can see that the Death Knight here has picked up Unholy Aura as his first ability, making him very, very fast. Now, I also wanted to say that I am going to be casting, I believe, another King of the Hill style series after this. I wanted to showcase this game just because it was highly rated, and I hope I am not disappointed. Those of you guys who are watching the game, some of you who, well, I'm not going to spoil any more, but some of you guys already know, well, I'm not going to actually say anything because by me saying something that it may actually spoil more of the game. Anyways, Warden now chasing down that Death Knight. Archers trying to come in, and they will be able to get in a little bit of damage here. The Warden is playing a very, very curious game, and the Death Knight is playing a very, very strange game as well. He's purposely backing, engaging, and trading hit points on timed life units against the other units here. You can see a quick Shadow Strike now coming in. Now the Death Knight is trying to lead the army back the other way. Warden purposely breaking off from the archers, knowing that the archers are slower. Okay, this is going to be a very, very dangerous game to play. Only one Ancient of War, and the Ancient of War is in an awfully curious position. Those ghouls are going to have a very, very easy time inside this base. The archers cannot shadow meld, as the Dust of Appearance will reveal them in a moment. Meanwhile, back over here, the Warden is actually fighting a 3-on-1 fight against other ghouls. Are these archers going to be able to get away? That is an important question. The archers are now running a little bit too far. Need to head back the other way, as the Warden now going to regenerate some mana. All right, picking up the Circlet of Nobility. There you go. That Warden now looking to perhaps fight again, as the Moonwells are now going to get targeted. This is very, very common strategy, and I like this play by Angeline, trying to limit the surface area on these Moonwells. It is going to be difficult to get a full surround on this, and oh, the Wisp is going to start repairing. I believe it is going to start repairing, as the Warden is now right there. Oh, this is going to be a very dangerous spot to be in. The Warden is right there, and let's see, another ghoul gets taken down. Wisp are massively repairing. There's a blink out, as the Moonwells were just pretty much getting drained right there. Warden now once again in a little bit of a dangerous spot. We should see a Dust of Appearance use. No Dust of Appearance use, as another ghoul is taken down there. That damage over time on that Shadow Strike, so effective. effective, as now the Death Knight still has not gotten any experience on the board. And very important that no Dust of Appearances have been used, as the Death Knight is going to be able to constantly reveal these archers. All right, let's come back over here. Let's see, the Moonwells are rather bare at this point, as the Ancient of War now trying to make its way over. Archers running for their lives, and are they going to be able to split up? You can see more ghouls are coming in, and this is a very common opening in a Night Elf versus a Night Elf versus Undead opening. So many ghouls, as the archers are now trying to get away. Oh, this looks like that archer is going to get taken down. There it goes. And what is happening? Where is the Warden to try and lead and protect this army? All right, Warden now using up a Clarity Potion, kind of, or maxed out on mana. Not quite sure why you even bother with the Clarity Potion at that point, as we can see that the archer is going to get taken down here. Is the archer going to get... No, gets pathed by her own fellow, I guess, sister here, as we're now looking at the Warden go the other way. All right, Archer trying to land some blows off on that Death Knight. The Death Knight now getting dangerously close to level 2, and once that Death Knight is at level 2, this is going to be a really bad fight. Let's take a look at this. Oh, is the Warden going to pick up? Yes, picks up the Circuit of Mobility, going back after all those units. Let's see, are we going to perhaps see any additional Shadow Strikes? That's really what we're looking for right now, as the archers... Wait a second, we are going into Tree of Eternity before any Ancients of Lore, and no other heroes are being trained. Warden looks like it will be a solo hero style, unless we are going for a tavern hero, but no units are really running or making a break for that tavern. Down over here, there's one Ancient of Lore, a Wisp. I'm going to be able to dodge safely, as a second Ancient of Lore now coming. Dryads and Druids of the Claw are around the corner. Meanwhile, we are looking at a Lich. We are upgrading the Black Citadel already, as FantaFiction in a great spot right now. He is pretty much even on level, which is very dangerous for that Night Elf. Night Elf now trying to pull back here. Are we going to perhaps see a Shadow Strike here? The Warden is actually just playing a game of cat and mouse, as the Warden doesn't mind the additional damage, but a Frost Nova could really make for a bad time. The Skeletal Minions almost get a surround on that Warden, as the Warden now backs away once more. Archers now pulling back here. Archers now holding onto these Moonwells. The Moonwells are rather empty still, as the archers are now trying to run inside this base and get some protection. The only protection will be next to that Ancient of Wonders, as a detonation does go down. Warden now still sitting at level 2, did not get level 3 off of that detonation. There's a huge Frost Nova, as the archers are now running in the backfield again. All right, Tree of Eternity still being upgraded. That archer is having a very bad day, as the ghouls will take her down. Meanwhile, the Warden is still right here. Ancients of Lore now attempting to train up Dryads, as the Ancients of Lore... as the Ancients of Lore need to come out with that slow poison and start poking down these units. The problem is that there's already Crypt Fiends in transition, and the Crypt Fiends will pretty much eat those Dryads alive. The Warden needs to figure out her game plan and what's going to be happening next. Wisp after Wisp is falling. This Ancient of Wonders down to 600, or down to 96 hit points. Looks like it is ending up going to fall, and there is Anti-Magic Shell on that Warden. The Warden buying an Anti-Magic Shell potion, and wow, that Ancient of Wonders is still engaging. I'm actually really surprised by this, but more importantly, the Warden is not getting that much experience. Now finally getting up to level 3. That was a lot of death. A Tree of Eternity now taken down again, or taking another kill there, as the Lich has dangerously taken a lot of damage. All right, Lich down to 256 hit points. Can the Warden finish it off? It looks like it might be able to do exactly that. No, there's another Death Coil to save it, as the Warden is getting that slow, or the damage over time on that Lich, in addition to, oh wow, that Lich is just constantly being healed. Another Shadow Strike comes in. Are we going to perhaps get a blink forward? The blink forward should be enough. As you can see, the slow poison is coming in. That Death Knight now low on mana, unable to do anything. That Warden still has plenty, and now gonna get in one more blow. There it goes, and now the Death Knight taking a bit of damage. There is another Shadow Strike there. The Death Knight now dangerously low on hit points, but back on Blight and now ready to go. All right. some extreme micro coming in from Angeline to stay in this game, constantly dropping the Circlet of Nobility to get the most out of those Moonwells. Meanwhile, the Warden is now backing off, looking to perhaps finish off these Ogre Warriors. Ogre Warrior is taking that damage over time. You see a quick ensnare there. Tome of Strength quickly picked up as the Warden is trying to get to level 4. Level 4 on the Warden would be a more effective blink, I would assume, at this point, since it does have level 1 blink already. Oh, the Troll Trapper was taken down. Death Knight still seeing that level 2. You can see skeletal minions are being added. Dryad unfortunately gets caught in the crossfire as it gets focused down by Crypt Fiends. Rejuvenation now coming back the other way, and that little bit of additional hit points on that unit is going to really turn things around. Death Knight now trying to chase after the units here. You can see that the Crypt Fiend is taking a bit of damage, and an Archer is going to go down as well. All right, Lich getting dangerously close to level 2. Frost Armor most likely around the corner to protect from those bears as the Crypt Fiends are now in trouble. They are now the ones getting ensnared as the bears are in position. All right, Warden getting in a lot of damage, and it looks like one bear will go down, or sorry, one Crypt Fiend will go down. There is a rejuvenation, and with no destroyers yet, this one Warden is actually dealing a tremendous amount of damage. That Warden able to stay alive with rejuvenation. It is not getting taken out yet, as the Warden now dangerously or at level 4 now, and now more damage is being added. All right, that Lich still trying to pull back here. Can the Warden make anything happen? Oh, gonna go off, gets another Shadow Strike. The Death Knight does not have enough mana, and the bears are just gonna tear apart that Crypt Fiend. That normal attack on that medium armor dealing so much damage there, as the bears are now dangerously low as well. All right, what's going to be happening? These, I'm not quite sure why the Death Knight is actually trying to chase. Perhaps the Obsidian Statue upgrade, the Destroyer Form upgrade, is about to be completed, and that would really turn things around. One absorbed mana would completely just change things up, as where is that Warden? The Warden actually goes up to the top, going to try to pick up the item. The Warden is actually taking a lot of damage here in a very, very dangerous spot, down to 43 hit points. There is another rejuvenation, and now the Scroll of the Beast, is it going to get picked up? No, it is not. Oh, no, it is. Warden picks up the item, and now the Warden, with such a close call, able to stay alive again. So far, the only player to lose a hero is FantaFiction, and that was the Lich at level 1. No surprise there when you have a level 3 Warden out on the field. Now, the Warden is trying to get to level 5, and once it gets to level 5, it may start trying to do some engagements. You can see Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. We are seeing at 47 over 50 supply compared to 43 over 50. FantaFiction, now with destroyers on the field, should have a very easy time against these bears. The Dryads, however, are going to be the problem, and it's going to be playing, or the problem is going to be playing a balancing act between bears and Dryads. If you go too far on bears, your opponent is going to have more destroyers. If you then have too many destroyers, your opponent can go mass Dryads and change things around. Oh, Dark Ranger getting caught in transition. That is just going to be a bad day all over, as one blink enough to finish off, the Dark Ranger So Mad Wayfinder at level 1. Warden now very, very close to level 5. However, playing a little bit of a dangerous game, kind of low on mana, and will not be able to perform all of those delicate maneuvers that the Warden is going to need. Now, let's take a look at this Wand of Illusion. That Warden is absorbing a bit of damage. Let's take a look back over here. Level 5 now on that Warden. All that Angeline is going to get on that Warden, or from that creeping now, is going to be the additional gold and maybe an item or two. Let's take a look at this. What item will be dropped? This could determine the course of the game. Is it going to be a good item? It is a Ring of Regeneration, so that Warden is going to be even more difficult to take out if the Warden holds on to that item. Back over here, Gargantuan Sea Turtle is off, or is going to get picked off. Death Knight and Lich, both sitting at level, or sitting at level 3, level 2. Lich may actually get to level 3 here, as we are now going very heavily into destroyers. There is 5 bears on the field. and only 5 Dryads, so it's going to come down to focus fire. If the Dryads can finish off the destroyers while the bears are taking care of the Crypt Fiends, then the Night Elf will obviously be the victor. However, if the destroyers can take down the bears before the Crypt Fiends fall, then the victor is going to be the Undead. One of those situations where the counter to the counter to the counter to the counter is always in play, and now you have a bit of an issue. All right, let's take a look at this. Oh, the Shadow Strike onto the Crypt Fiend. Crypt Fiend gonna get Death Coiled, saved a second, but it is not going to be for very long. We are continuing to see this fight, and it's very important that you see that the bears are getting in a lot of focus fire onto the required units. Now, with 2 Crypt Fiends down, this really changes things up. Without the piercing damage, those Dryads are pretty much going to go unchallenged, and that means that the destroyers are going to end up falling. Once those destroyers are gone, the Dryads and the Warden should be able to focus down the rest of the heroes. We should be seeing more Crypt Fiends being added. There is 1 destroyer here. Where are the rest of the destroyers? I could have sworn there were more destroyers on the map. There's another destroyer there, and more. So yeah, 1 destroyer, and that is it. I'm not quite sure if perhaps the Dryads were able to focus down a destroyer earlier. We're sitting at 50 over 60 supply compared to 50 over 60. Both players sitting on no upkeep and trying to build a rather large lead. Let's take a look back over here. There are 2 destroyers, some obsidian statues, Crypt Fiends now being added once more. It looks like the Undead is going to continue creeping out the very, very difficult corners of the map, and this is definitely important, as all of a sudden the Death Knight will get to level 4, the Lich will stay at level 3, and the Dark Ranger will be at level 1. However, a quick retrain onto the Warden, and that Warden is now in a great spot. Warden, if it can get to level 6 off of just shutting down the opponent's units here, that is going to be a huge deal. Ghouls are falling. And now the ghouls are going to be forced to retreat. New acolytes will need to be trained, and they cannot actually be rallied to the gold mine. Let's take a look back down over here. Staff of Teleportation. The Warden is taking a bit of damage, and the Warden is now back at home as we are going into Ancients of Wind. All right, let's see. Orb of Venom. You see Clarity Potion, Moonstone now being used. Rejuvenation now being used as well, as the Warden is regenerating a whole bunch of hit points. It is also going to regenerate a whole bunch of mana, and now it may even try and use a Moonwell to get that extra little bit. So far, we are going into an Ancient of Wonders down here as well, a second Ancient of Wonders, just in case a fight does break out at the natural expansion. Warden is looking very strong at this point, getting up a very decent-sized army. Meanwhile, his opponent has also built up a decent-sized army as well, adding abominations to protect that Crypt Fiend. Now, what is going to be happening here? You can see the Destroyer are, well, doing exactly what their names entail, trying to take down an entangled gold mine before it is up. But with a Troll, Berserker, and Dryads in position, those Destroyers are not going to get very far. Warden, on the other hand, now still making rounds across the map. The Warden, if it gets to level 6, we have seen how difficult an Avatar of Vengeance is to deal with. All right, Warden now looking to come inside here. Is it going to find anything? Finds a very, very ready undead army and decides to back off. Destroyers are all here. You can see a couple of Wisp are ripe for the picking, and they are going to get taken down very, very easily. There it goes. There goes. Nope. The Wisp actually able to stay alive here as they are now trying to run away. Hippogriffs in position, and the Hippogriffs do deal a lot of damage here. 50 to 57. The surprising thing is that the Undead generally has the most respected anti-air unit in the Gargoyle. The Gargoyles actually deal more damage here, as we're looking at the Bears now just clearing out more creep camps, more to deny their opponent from getting creeps, as we're looking at the Warden now making another bum rush in. All right, there is another beautiful fan of knives again. Acolyte going to be taking a bit of damage, and that Acolyte taking damage over time, very, very difficult, and now it looks like even more are going to take damage. The Dark Ranger now unable to get in position. The Warden all the way in the back, as the Dark Ranger is still sitting at level 2. that very, very annoying harassment technique. Difficult to shut down as we're looking at hippogriffs, dryads, bears. There's a tome of agility ready to go for that warden. That warden could deal 1 point of damage extra per attack. Let's see if, come on, please read that book. Yes, a professional player who actually reads tomes and reading more. Let's see. Oh, gonna sell the item, sell the gloves of haste, and now pick up the orb of venom again. Beautifully done. As the warden now getting close to maximum mana again. All the creep camps on the map have been cleared out. Death Knight is at 4. Lich is at 3, I believe. Dark Ranger is at 2 against a level 5 warden. Now, once the warden gets to level 6, all bets are off. Pretty much the undeads, animate dead for the Death Knight, death and decay for the Lich are not as game-changing ultimate abilities as the Avatar of Vengeance. The problem will also be the Obsidian statues who can devour magic down the Avatar, and that could be a bit of a problem. All right, here we go. We're going to go into a bit of an engagement. No Staff of Preservation on the Warden anywhere that I can see. Here goes the engagement, and there goes one bear already. Destroyers now still sitting on plenty of mana. That is going to be a problem as another bear gets taken down. So far, the Potion of Invulnerability on the Warden looking very good. There is the Warden now sitting at level 6. Are we going to be going into an Avatar of Vengeance? No, not yet. And not quite sure what we are waiting for. It's so many Destroyers taking down so many bears. How many Crypt Fiends are left? That is the key, as the Warden is going after all of these Crypt Fiends. All right, Destroyers have pretty much finished off all the bears, and now all we are left with is one bear, one Destroyer. A Dark Ranger is now sitting at level 3, and this is an absolute bloodbath. Everyone's units are dying left and right, as everyone is also gaining a lot of experience. Lich in a bit of trouble. Is it going to get taken down? There is a death coil to save it, as the Warden is just chasing to get a lot of damage in. All right, a second death coil now comes in, as well as the burrowed Crypt Fiend are now just trying to stay alive. Avatar of Vengeance in a little bit of trouble. You can see the Spirits of Vengeance is just constantly attacking back, and more units are just trying to surround here. All right, what's happening here? Do you see? Oh, a beautiful army off over here was trying to get regrouped and recollected, as we are now looking at the Avatar of Vengeance still sitting off over here trying to get in some free shots. Crypt Fiends now attempting to take down a Moonwell, as this Dryad, dangerously low on hit points, cannot engage. Avatar now down to dead, as we now look at Crypt Fiends coming in. All right, Hippogriffs pretty much unable to do anything. Where is the Warden? The Warden is right in the midst of it all. Does have a potion and now gets up to level 7. Level 7 Warden. That could be a blinking machine, as the Lich is gonna get taken down. Oh my goodness, yes, does get taken down even though the Warden was silenced. Death Knight now gets up to level 5. Lich falls at level 4 as the Warden is waiting for that silence to wear off. All right, silence has worn off. There is a Shadow Strike now onto the Death Knight. Death Knight taking a lot of damage, still on the run, as the Warden is still a one-woman killing machine. All right, slow poison still coming in. There is a Death Pact from the Death Knight. The Death Knight taking down his own Abomination to get in a little bit more damage. All right, the Dryad perhaps should be backing off here. The Warden now trying to catch up, and the Warden now going after the Dark Ranger. Death Knight does not have enough mana. What is that? Oh, a Shadow Strike. Only a 75 point damage Shadow Strike, so more points on Fan of Knives, as you remember, as the Warden now trying to catch up there, unable to do so. Rejuvenation now trying to pull back. Hippogriffs are in the air, but there is nothing left, and we are going to get the heck out of dodge there. Oh, there is a Death Coil onto a bear, unable to save the unit, as we can see the Dark Ranger with the Dark Minions dealing so much damage, finishing off these Dryads. The Dryad could just easily abolish magic there. Not quite sure why it does not, as the Hippogriffs are still in the air, and they're pretty much not going to get taken out. There is a burrowed Crypt Fiend there. Warden now on its way over. Shadow Strike not that strong, as there was that Tome of Retraining. Warden now sitting at level 7. Death Knight sitting at level 5. Lich currently dead, but was sitting at level 4. And Dark Ranger is sitting at level 3. Alright, I misspoke earlier when all the creep camps were gone. There was still one creep camp left, and it has finally been cleaned up by the Undead. A major amount of experience has been gathered by FantaFiction and this Undead army. Hippogriff getting taken out there, getting caught out of position as the Warden now looking for some easy kills. If the Warden perhaps finds that Lich in transit, that could be bad news. And is it going to find the Lich in transit? Oh, the Lich goes in the... Oh, finds the Lich. And this is huge. If the Lich gets taken down already, that is going to be a huge experience loss. The Warden going after the Lich. There is a second Shadow Strike. The Shadow Strike is dealing a lot of damage over time. Death Knight comes in with the Death Coil and saves the Lich. Warden needed another 2 seconds to finish off the Lich. Warden, all she has to show is a lot of wasted mana. Rejuvenation now back on that Warden. Let's take a look back in the center of the map. Lich is sitting at level 4, and the problem now is that there is no rhyme or reason to go for a second hero. The Warden is pretty much all in. If you try to train up a second hero at this point, the Death Knight and Frost Nova, the Death Knight's Death Coil and Frost Nova will pretty much be a 1-2 instant death for most heroes. Let's see, the Death Knight and the Lich coming together, gonna do a little bit of shopping. Still a burrowed Crypt Fiend down over here. Tree of Eternity making the long trek down as we're sitting at 53/80. Mark of the Claw being researched. Something that I don't really... I'm trying to remember what Mark of the Claw does. I believe it improves mana regeneration while you are in bear form and allows you to cast Roar while in bear form. But why would you cast Roar against destroyers? That is pretty much just adding additional firepower to your enemy, as your enemy will devour the magic of the Roar and deal more damage back to your units. There is the Avatar of Vengeance and in position. Let's see, Avatar of Vengeance already taking a little bit of damage, and here you go. What's happening? Oh, what is that? I believe that was a Shadow Strike. We are doing a little bit of an engagement, and the lines have pretty much all been all have fallen. Death Knight still sitting at level 5. I believe the Dark Ranger is now sitting at level 4 as we are still fighting down over here. All right, let's take a look at this. Avatar of Vengeance trying to take down more units, and it looks as though no reveal there. Another bear going to get taken down. Finally gets taken down there. Another bear gets taken down, and this is just constant damage left and right. That burrowed Crypt Fiend finally getting healed back up as more bears are going to fall. Dark Ranger in a bit of a trouble here, down to 450 hit points and is silenced. Will not be able to break out of this, and this may be the game. The Warden trying to get away and is able to do so with that blink. All right, let's take a look back over here. Another bear now trying to back off, not looking good at all. There goes another bear, a dark minion there to replace it as the Acolytes are nearby repairing these obsidian statues. No gold being mined by FantaFiction at all. What you see is what you get. 39/80 as we are currently still mining additional gold. All right, Tree of Eternity is down over here. And this is interesting. I guess FantaFiction doesn't know which building to attack. So far, you can see that there is actually more gold coming in for Angeline, and that is actually the saving grace for Angeline. If Angeline wins this fight, it is because he is still able to train more units. Dryads, and lots of them, are still here. But the Death Knight with obsidian statues able to constantly heal up all of these friendly units. This is going to be a definite problem. All right, there is an Abolish Magic onto all of those dark minions, and the Warden is now getting very close to level 8. I don't remember the last time I saw a level 8 Warden, let alone level 9 or even level 10. Let's take a look at this. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability now being used. Gonna go after all these units here. It looks like the Warden is just absolutely focus firing down that Lich. The Lich gets saved again as the Warden now pretty much low on mana. There's the Frost Nova, blinks away in time as the Dryads are now starting to fall once more. All you really need is to take down one hero in this trifecta, and you are pretty much okay. All right, Dark Ritual being used on an Acolyte. Probably not what they were expecting when they were being called to battle, as we are now going to be running out of gold here. All right, Tree of Eternity going to come around, turn and then start an engagement. Wisp may try to come in and heal, but the Lich quickly there with the Frost Nova. Are we going to start repairing this Tree of Eternity? No, they're starting to detonate instead, removing mana, but still the Death Knight still has plenty of mana there. The Warden still backing off here. You can see that the Tree of Eternity is running around. And what is happening here? All of a sudden, 31 over 60, it looks like the Night Elf is pretty much going to be up the creek without a paddle. Where is she going? Constantly running around as we now see the Avatar of Vengeance here once more. All right, let's take a look at this. Avatar of Vengeance here again. Shadow Strike. Oh, Warden. It looks as though the Lich is going to get taken down here. Is the Lich going to get taken down? Yes, it is. The Death Knight unable to save him. And now the Dryads are now on the run again. Crypt Fiends almost take down that Dryad. Dryad down to 9 hit points. Moonwells are pretty much bone dry again. We still have 540 gold and an Ancient of Wonders to buy things from. And this, I believe, will be a testament to whether or not the Warden is a true one-man army, or one-woman army. Here you go. There is the engagement. Warden now off to the side, back over here, seeing that level 8. More units now coming back over here. Dryads are getting picked apart. Mass detonation coming in. The Warden is actually very, very dangerous right now, as it is trying to just stay alive. I believe there's just too many units here, and the Warden cannot stick around to just win this fight here. This is not looking good. Death Knight looks like it's going to come out ahead. The Warden going after the Shadow Strike onto the Death Knight, but the Death Knight at 1,000 hit points is not falling anytime soon. All right, let's take a look back here. Still 420, or wait, Clarity Potion now being used. It is now nightfall as building after building is slowly being destroyed. Spirit of Vengeance now chasing their way over, and I believe that is gonna be it. The Undead can easily... No, wait, Tree of Life being placed down by Angeline here. There is some Acolytes, but the Acolytes need to unsummon buildings in order to build another gold mine. A Destroyer now on its way down over here as well. And what is gonna be happening? Angeline, this Warden, this level 8 Warden, by herself, can she do it? That is the question. Orb of Venom. There is a Tree of Life. It just needs to get canceled. You'll get a little bit more gold. And if the Warden perhaps takes down another unit or two, that is going to change things around drastically. Warden now chasing back down over here. Oh, there's a quick blink. Cannot stick around in this fight. And is going to go after the Death Knight. Yes, the taking or Shadow Striking the Death Knight. But there's just not enough mana in her banks to really take on this army. It would be very smart to actually unsummon the graveyard here, yes. And, well, a little bit of an anticlimactic ending, but a very good fight from these two players. FantaFiction taking this game. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.